Welcome. I hope I haven't frightened you, my friend. You seem a bit lost. Please feel free to sit down. What's that? Oh no, I don't live here. This is a place where me and my friends have chosen to hold our meeting on this dark and lovely night. We are, for you see, the Nightmare Night Society, and we come together to exchange stories. The kind of stories that bring to mind pictures of delight as well as images of sorrow. But I can tell that you didn't come here for our sake. You are confused and just want to return home. Am I wrong? Tell you what. See these doors? Behind them, you'll find 6 rooms. And in each, you'll hear a story. Listen to them, and we will help you get home. Good luck and enjoy what's submitted for the approval of the Nightmare Night Society.
We had just moved into a little house by the shore. Storybook site. Quiet, friendly, and peaceful. It was a hot summer, and that meant, sooner or later, there will be storms. At first, I was worried. My daughter seemed to love it, even though she was only 3. It was the first big storm she'd ever seen. Flashes of lightning flooded the bare rooms of our house, imparting unpacked boxes with long, creeping shadows, to which she jumped and squealed as the thunder boomed. It was well past her bedtime before she finally settled down enough to go to sleep. The next morning I found her awake in bed and smiling.
"I watched the lightning at my window,"
she proudly announced. A few mornings later she told me the same thing. "You're silly," I said. "It didn't storm last night. You were only dreaming."
"Oh."
She seemed somewhat disheartened. I ruffled her hair and told her not to worry. There should be another storm soon. Then it became a pattern. She would tell me how she watched lightning outside her window at least twice a week, despite there being no storms. Reoccurring dreams of that first memorable thunderstorm, I figured, or maybe a reflection in the water. In retrospect, it is the scariest thing I've ever heard. My daughter came up to me in the morning.
"Guess what?"
she asked. "What?"
"No more lightning at my window."
"Oh, that's nice. It finally died down, huh?"
"No, now it's in my closet."
No one will come for you. That's what he said every night, as I lay entombed in the fields I had long ago resigned myself to my brother's love to torment me. He always has. He's always taken great pleasure in my fear and misery, his idea of fun. When I was 3 years old, I vividly remember every night. At around 9 o'clock, my mother would tell me that it was time for bed. She would tuck me into the bottom bunk of an old steel, self-assembled bunk bed. She would kiss my forehead before saying goodnight, turning the light off and leaving the room, closing the door tight. As I lay staring at the dim light of the room, taking in the various silhouettes of the furniture, I would hear the springs of the top bunk creak and give. I would close my eyes and silently cry, knowing my brother's cruel game was about to begin. Every night was the same. My brother would growl at me in his malevolent croak all about the pain and misery awaiting me. "No one will come for you," he would begin. "No one will save you when I finally get down." I would lie there, my body cocooned in the catatonic terror, only able to silently weep and listen as my brother would describe the various ways of torment he had thought up for me. He would tell me that one day he would deliver on his threats, but for now, it was more for fun to just tell me what he had in store. My brother loves to torment me. This was my childhood up until I turned 7. My father decided that it was time to get rid of the bunk beds. He had bought them when my mother was pregnant. We lived in an old freestanding house. When my mother told my father she was expecting twins, she said he was so bursting with joy like a hyperactive full-on heartwarming Eve. He went out to the bed store that day and bought that damn steel bunk bed, saying it was the perfect solution for such a situation. Even though he knew the bunk bed wouldn't be used until we were at least 2.5 years old, he had our bedroom fully decorated and furnished, complete with bunk bed 2 months before we were born. I say we. Sadly, I was told my brother died whilst my mother was giving birth. So, I should say before I was born. I don't know much about what happened exactly. I'm very hesitant to ask my parents as the mere mention of the subject sends the two into tears and, well, it's just not spoken about in our home. I can't believe how well I still remember those days. I'm 27 now. I live by my own in our family home. I have an okay job and a beautiful collection of sleeping pills. I'm taking a whole bottle tonight. I'm going to finally sleep tonight. He's not going to keep me awake tonight. I miss that bunk bed. At least, when he had the top bunk, I couldn't see him. My brother loves to torment me.
If you look carefully, you might notice that I'm adopted, but it never mattered to me. I love my family. I love my dad, my mom, my brothers, and sister. We live in a house that, for someone as small as me, looks huge. When they first brought me there, I was quite intimidated for some time and didn't want to leave the living room, unless I was with my mom. Then again, I wasn't even big enough to climb the stairs on my own yet. My mom is loving and gentle and often gives me treats, and Dad was a stern earth pony that wasn't above discipline, but he would never hurt them. He loves us and makes us feel safe. I love playing with my siblings. Early on, when I was afraid of sleeping alone, I used to sneak into my big brother's bed and sleep with him. Soon Dad moved my bed into his room. Once I became comfortable, we played all day in the house, in the yard, but we most loved to play on the beach. Whenever we do, Mom always tells us to clean ourselves before we come into the house. One night, I heard a noise. My brother was gone, and I looked all over the floor, calling for my parents, but found no one or hear a response. Then I saw it. The big creature holding my brother. I rushed at him. I wanted him to let go of my brother. The creature just pushed me away with a crooked grin and closed the door. I started scratching at the door, screaming, yelling for my parents, for anyone, whimpering, crying. Now I'm sitting here, helpless, looking at my 2 small paws.
In a secluded area, there lived an old, widowed mare. She lived by herself in a big, old house, bounded to her wheelchair. She was an earth pony, and for a while now, she required the aid of a Pegasus carer who would visit her daily to help her with everyday tasks. What made it even more difficult was the fact that the 2 floors of the house were only connected by an old staircase inside. When the old mare needed to move between the 2, the carer would have to carry her frail body like an infant up and down the stairs. One day, the police received a call from the widow pony. There had been an incident. One detective managed to arrive early at the scene. Awaiting his backup, he decided to look over the crime scene. The ground floor was in total shambles. The detective couldn't tell if anything was missing or if it even was a break-in, at least at this point. The thing known for certain is that there was a savage fight, far beyond what any pony could do. The carer was nowhere to be found, except for a few scattered yellow feathers. On the first level of the house, there was the old mare atop the staircase, in her wheelchair, watching him, still and silently, seemingly in shock. Due to her inability to move up and down the stairs, he could immediately rule her out as a suspect, because she was trapped up there the time the incident took place. Not to mention, there was no possibility she could be involved in whatever rampage happened downstairs. All she told the detective was that she was sleeping when she suddenly heard a soul-rendering shriek coming from downstairs, among other noises, and that's when she called the police. The detective took photos, swabbed for evidence, and recorded as much evidence as possible for now, all routine procedure. He has scoped the house downstairs for any clues, then asked the old mare if he could look upstairs. She insisted that she was upstairs the whole time, and no one apart from her had been up there that day. But regardless of this, the detective ascended the staircase, to which she hesitantly moved aside. Beyond the staircase, there was this narrow corridor with 3 closed doors along it. He checked behind each of the doors. The empty bedroom? Nothing. The bathroom? Nothing. He became anxious as he slowly made his way to the final bedroom where the old mare slept. He opened it, and everything looked normal. A bed, a wardrobe, and the bedside table with a lamp. He checked every wall of the room in horror, as it was not what he discovered, but it was what he didn't discover that made him stop dead in his tracks. It was a detail so minor that he almost completely missed it. There was no phone upstairs. He suddenly heard a noise and rushed out of the room, only to find an empty wheelchair atop the stairs.
I've been lying down for hours now. It's 5 a.m. and there's still not much I can do. You know what the worst part about my situation is? I'm not alone in this room. There's a strong sensation of dread and I feel paralyzed with fear. The second I make any hint that I'm not asleep anymore, I'm done for. I'm done for and there's nobody around to save me. I've been trying to think of a way out, but the only idea I have is to rush for the front door and scream for help, hoping that any pony hears me. It's risky, but if I stay here, it's waiting for me to wake up and see his masterpiece. You're probably wondering what's going on. I do tend to get ahead of myself sometimes. About 3 hours ago, I heard a noise from the other side of the house. I got up and went to check on the noise. Now I realize it was exactly what it wanted me to do. I got very uneasy and ran back to my room, hiding under the sheets like a filly. I tried to convince myself to go back to sleep, that it was just some really weird, vivid dream or something. But I heard my bedroom door open. Like a terrified foal, I peeked out from under my blankets to see what was going on. I could see something dragging its large body into the room. It was not a pony, I'll tell you that. It was hairless, with no eyes to tell or clothing. It walked with its back slouched, but this thing was much smarter than any animal. It was aware of what it was doing. It stood in the room with me, no more than 2 feet from my bed. With all my will, I tried not to look or give any signs of being awake. I was not moving. I tried breathing normally, but the hardest was trying not to look. It then started rubbing its hands on the walls, scratching them with its blunt but strong claws. It dug into the walls as if it were writing in sand. I could hear the clippings of the wood and paint falling onto the ground. I couldn't see in detail, but just the basic shapes brought me the feelings of despair, sorrow, and helplessness. This thing had made what it probably called a masterpiece. To finish it off, it scribbled a message into the wall that I could not read in this darkness. It then positioned itself under my bed waiting to strike. The scariest thing now is my eyes have adjusted to the darkness since then, and I can read the message on the wall. I didn't want to look at it, because it's terrifying to think about it, but I feel I need to see before it gets me. I peek at the creature's masterpiece.
You asleep?
No, I guess you're not either.
Can't. It's the wind. Sounds like cats fighting. What's your excuse?
Studying.
WTF, the wind is so loud. That doesn't seem normal, lol.
No wind over here, just rain.
Lucky you. I need my beauty sleep.
Damn right you do.
What? You mean I look... Shit. Think I heard footsteps on the gravel outside.
Get your dad to check it out.
I'm home alone. The fam is on holiday, remember? I told you this.
Really?
They really sound like footsteps, but there's something odd about them. I should look out the window, but my bed is so warm.
You sure you want to look out the window when you're not alone? What if there really is some pony there in your garden looking at you?
Not funny, Goldie.
Wow, chill. I'm sure it's nothing.
Gonna check. BRB.
If there's something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call?
There's some pony in the garden.
What? Really?
Yes, I can see some pony's back.
What's he doing?
He's looking for something in the bushes. What should I do?
Nothing? He'll probably go away by himself.
OMG, now he's digging with his bare hooves. He's ruining the garden.
What does he look like?
Goldie, WTF, this isn't funny.
What?
How are you doing that?
What are you talking about?
I can see you in my garden. How are you writing here without touching your phone? Look up, I'm by the window. Can't you hear me banging on it?
Key, now you're scaring me too. I am definitely not in your garden. That's not me.
Stop playing around. I can see your cutie mark.
It must have been someone who looks like me. Honestly, Key, I'm at home. I wouldn't play around like that.
It has to be a friend of yours, Goldie. Playing a sick prank. How could he have your cutie mark?
Are you sure it was mine? Maybe it just looked similar from the distance. Is he even a Pegasus?
He's digging again. For Celestia's sake, leave already! What the hell is this, Golden?
I swear it's not me. Maybe it's a changeling or some kind of illusion spell.
Fuck! He's seen me! Why is he smiling like that? He's coming!
Call the cops. Key? Key, pick up. I've called the cops. I told them there's a break-in attempt at your place. They said they're on their way, but it'll take about half an hour. Key, are you there?
It stopped. I can't hear anything.
Really? Don't go out yet. Stay put until the police get here.
What should I tell them if he's gone?
Everything, Key. Everything you told me. I'm so glad it stopped.
Can you come over in the morning, Goldie? I really need to see you.
Of course, Key. I'll be there.
Great. Can't wait.
Key? Key, how do I know this is you? Key? Key? Key?
A man once spoke about shadows on the wall, how some may perceive moving shadows as real creatures that can move, breathe, and have their own will. But let us stop for a second and ask for ourselves, what if it's true that these amorphous patches of darkened space on the wall possess life? Would that life be of their own, or merely a reflection of whatever casts it? Would they be simply retaining lives of others in hopes of gaining their own individuality, trying to make up their own lives? Or would it be something different entirely? Then again, what if the opposite is true? The shadows are merely shapes on the wall. What if it's the wall that craves for a life? Welcome back, my friend. I see you made it. But what's this? You seem surprised. Was it the last door? Well, I just believe that you could use one more story. After all, this is what we all came here for. Listen to the stories of past lives. Also, I was asked to welcome you. The home by the sea.
Things that go to make up for life.